Hello and welcome once again to another lesson, Earth's Tides. What causes tides? Tides are daily changes in the level of ocean water. Tides are caused by the difference in the gravitational force of the sun and moon across Earth. The difference in gravitational force is called the tidal force. What causes tides? Because the moon is closer to Earth, the moon is mainly responsible for Earth's tides. Water on the side of Earth closest to the moon bulges toward the moon. A bulge is created on both the near side and the far side of Earth. What are high tides and low tides? High tide is a water level that is higher than the average sea level. Low tide is a water level that is lower than the average sea level. Tidal bulges move around the Earth following the motion of the moon. How do high tide and low tide move around Earth with respect to the moon? With respect to the moon, high tide and low tide occur as what you can see in this picture. This is the moon. This side is totally dark. And if you will remember our lesson, this arrangement is what phase of the moon? Yes, it is the new moon phase. So in this picture, this the moon is exerting gravitational pull towards this side of the earth and also on the other side, and these two sides are experiencing low tides while these two sides are experiencing high tides, and as it moves around, then tides or different types of tides occur. What are the two kinds of tidal ranges? The moon's tidal force is greater than the sun's tidal force, which results in different tidal ranges. A tidal range is the difference between the levels of ocean water at high tide and low tide. Spring tides are tides that have the largest daily tidal range. Spring tides happen when the sun, moon, and earth form a straight line. Yes, again, spring tides happen during new moon and full moon phases every 14 days. Why do you think spring tides are tides that have the largest daily tidal range? Yes, if you have answered because the gravitational force of the sun and the moon adds up, hence creating greater gravitational pull towards the earth, makes higher high tides and lower low tides. That's why the tidal range is so high. Like in this picture, you can see the sun and the moon. This is the new moon phase, and you can see sun, earth, and moon. This is the full moon phase. You can clearly see here that this part of the moon, which is the near side facing the earth, is totally dark. This is new moon. And this side of the moon that is facing the earth, again the near side, is now, instead of dark, totally lit up. So this is full moon. Neap tides. Neap tides are tides that have the smallest daily tidal range. Why do you think so? If you have answered Because neap tides happen when the sun, the moon, and the earth form a 90-degree angle. You are right. When this happens, then the gravitational pull of the moon and the sun cancels out. During a neap tide, the gravitational effects of the sun and the moon on earth do not add together or cancels out. That's why neap tides are tides that have the smallest daily tidal range. Take a look at this. So earlier, the spring tides happen during new moon and full moon. Now, during which moon phases do neap tides occur? If you've answered during first and third quarter, then you are right. What causes tidal cycles? The moon revolves around Earth much more slowly than Earth rotates. A place on Earth facing the moon takes 24 hours and 50 minutes to rotate to face the moon again. So the cycle of high tides and low tides at that place happens 50 minutes later each day. Because the tidal cycle occurs in 24 hours and 50 minutes intervals, it takes about 6 hours and 12.5 minutes for water in an area to go from high tide to low tide. It takes about 12 hours and 25 minutes to go from one high tide to the next high tide. Organisms living along coastlines must be able to survive at both high tide and low tide. Barnacles must survive the difference or differences in water level and temperatures during tidal cycles. Starfish live in tidal pools where water remains during low tide. Ghost crabs scurry to avoid being underwater at high tide. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something from this lesson, and I hope you have a nice day. Till the next lesson, cheers. Bye.